Okay, so let's say it's
That's the way I see it.
all right. So let me backtrack a little bit. We talked about keychain. Can you send me any information you have about keychain? And specific to what we talked about, and can you send me any information you have about this connecting? Because it just seems odd to me that it's connecting when it just doesn't seem right. Because with Apple, it's all logical, everything is logical. So that it's connecting, it's in the word itself, connecting, it's joining something.
Let's see here. That this is just something I've seen on other people's computers working with them. Just
Okay.
like it's something that I've seen over just through experience, but I wouldn't have any contextual evidence just saying that this is normal.
All right. So the connect. Okay. So you don't have any evidence on the connecting part. That's okay. But how about the keychain part? You were saying the locks are normal, and what about the iMessage showing up and iCloud showing up in keychain when it didn't ask me to sign into iCloud and I never touched iMessage?
Mm-hmm. So, like, say mine, I have something in my keychain under the local items that says App Store user data encryption, for the App Store.
Right.
But I have never signed into the App Store on my computer. And if I go a little lower, I do have a few other things about like iCloud keychain, but I'm not signed into iCloud. And I have some other ones for like iMessage and a few other things. Things that I've never used
Right.
on the computer ever.
Have you
Like
opened them? Have you opened them at all?
I have accident like I've tried to open some of them sometimes,
Right.
but then I don't sign in because I can't. I'm not allowed to sign into my personal Apple ID, of course, and I don't have like a work Apple ID. We don't use those. But like say under mine,
Mm-hmm.
under all items under keychain access, I still have some kind of iMessage encryption key, iMessage signing key. Like I still have some iMessage things in here, even though I never used iMessage. I never signed in. I may have unintentionally opened it a couple times whenever trying to open other apps or try to access other things in the app, but I've never actually used it or
All right.
signed in.
No, I hear what you're saying. That I hear what you're saying. That these things are automatically will show up in keychain, right? That's what you're saying, even though you're not using the app. Yes.
Yes.
All right. But what about if I never opened iMessage? Should it show there?
Now, I can't give you a 100% accurate fact,
Okay.
but I would say yes. I would say that even if you never open iMessage, because I know I have
Right.
opened iMessage a couple times without using it,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say it was probably there
Mm-hmm.
before I opened it. Now, I can't guarantee that that is true, but this
Right.
is just, for the most part, it's an assumption. Like, this is what I think would be normal.
Okay.
I can't
That's
prove
okay.
it,
That,
but
that's
this
okay.
is
Do
what
you?
I think.
That's okay. Do you have any information or documentation on that?
I'll have to check, but I'm not sure if there'd be anything like that specific.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, I thought I'd ask you. I want to ask because I want to inform myself. All right, let's move on to question number three. And I think question number three we're going to skip over because what Marcos had said to me is because I have untitled and untitled data, my computer is divided into partitions. But you're going to tell me no, that's not true.
No, that one, I think that's what we were mentioning before
Yeah,
when I told you that it's normal to have the
yes,
startup data.
right,
Like he mentions Mac HD and
right.
Mac HD data. Two different volumes there that are partitioned a little differently. Where you have one
Mm-hmm,
just for the system, Mac HD or Untitled,
mm-hmm.
and then the data, where that's just all your data, all your personal stuff goes into that one.
Yeah,
And
so
that, like, that's normal with the systems that came out after Catalina. Because before, You used to have just the one, like you have just Macintosh HD or just Untitled, and now it have your system and your data. But after Catalina came out, that's when they started partitioning it a little differently. Like Catalina was a really big change for the system and the overall just structure of the computers and their partitions.
And that I believe that is absolutely. I've noticed things there that I didn't see before, and that was exciting. All right. So the HD only has a system, and then the data with all the application comes under untitled data.
That's right. Everything
Perfect.
else will go to data. The other one's just a system.
Got it. Let's go to number four then, because we're done that one there. Number four. What did I ask? One second. Number four, I asked. Okay, so I wiped the Mac after he helped me. Right. I wiped the Mac and I run system diagnostic. I didn't remember. I did not join a network. Right. I've gone through this a lot of times with you, but I did not join a network. I run diagnostic, because what I see is there's a lot of data according to Activity Monitor. A lot of data, thousands of data is coming into the computer and leaving the computer. I ran NetStat and I ran diagnostic. Another NetStat. I saw 35 active foreign internet connections, and I saw IPv4 and IPv6 with some weird IP addresses. Talk to me about that. Let me see what he said.
I'll see what I can find on that because I'm not too familiar with like network structure or Wi-Fi networks.
Okay,
But I did see that Carlos, I think he knows a little more about that than I did, and he mentioned that it was not normal. Like he was saying
perfect.
that
Yes.
it is not normal behavior for IPv4 slash IPv6 address to show up when not connected to a network unless the Mac was not erased and reinstalled properly.
Right.
So, which I think that could maybe lead back to what was mentioned before, where, because if I had to guess, when you had that triangle come up with that globe,
Mm-hmm.
it could maybe also be something to do with some kind of internet or server issue.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to load that part of the recovery, it requires a good, stable Wi-Fi connection.
Right.
But if there's something going on with either the network or maybe the operating system itself
Mm-hmm.
or the computer, like hardware-wise, I've seen a lot of different error messages come up, but maybe that could also be connected with this weird activity in your network. So there could maybe be something going on with the operating system or just the computer itself, or the network,
Okay. So
but
let me.
most likely the computer system.
Right. So let me hold on while you check that, because what he didn't answer is the 35 foreign active internet connection and data moving to and from my computer. Because the data was shown in Activity Monitor, it shows thousands of data moving into and out of the computer, thousands of packets moving in and out. So if IPv4 and IPv6 should not show those addresses, got that one. How about the 25 active internet connection? I guess it should not have shown that either, and data should not have been moving in and out. But I wanted him to tell me that specifically. In the event it happens again.
I'm not too sure about that one, Tia. Like, I think maybe, I mean, if you're not connected to the internet,
Right.
I wouldn't expect anything like that.
So you see the.
I wouldn't.
Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead, Tia.
The thing is, the reason I am asking and I re-ask again and again is because I'm thinking common sense. If I would just wipe the device or I just unbox it, whatever it is, I just wiped it, and this happens, something is wrong, right? There's a connection somehow. Is that not what you were getting? There's a connection somehow?
Like that's what I can see. Because I mean, on a very rare occasion, I've had a handful of people have problems with their computer fresh out the box. Like I even had somebody with a brand new 2020, like I think it was one of the M1 models, one of the newest ones. And as soon as they opened it, they tried to sign into their Apple ID, but
Right.
they got a network error. And they had all kinds of weird errors trying to sign into their Apple ID, trying to connect to their Wi-Fi. And so they tried to just turn it off and turn it back on again and start over. And when they turned it back on, they got one of those errors where the screen, instead of showing the Apple and the setup screen, they just showed a folder question mark. And
Hmm.
that was their first day out of the box. They just turned it off once and they got that. So like it could be possible that maybe, for lack of better words, you got a bad computer.
Got it.
And it could, like all of this, everything that's happening. But it could be possible that maybe we could try to go for the erase again and try to set it up again.
Mm-hmm.
And this maybe could resolve all the problems that you're seeing. We could maybe try a different type of recovery. Because if you got the one with the globe and that one didn't work, sometimes if you try a different kind of recovery, because there's at least 3 different types of ways to get to the recovery system,
Mm-hmm.
and we can maybe try to erase a different way. And if we can get that done, and if you can maybe set it up again, maybe that'll fix everything. Maybe. And if not, that's when you can maybe look into service or getting the computer replaced, which I think, if I'm correct, you've already worked something out, at least with one of the senior advisors, about maybe getting a replacement.
Oh yes, listen, I've been trying to solve this thing for a while. Let's that I think you've got a great idea there, which I've just written down. There are three ways of recovery that you mentioned. The three ways are what? Is it
So
up?
one of
Go ahead.
because there's 3 different types of recovery. There's
Okay.
a standard Mac OS recovery
Mm-hmm.
where you would hold down Command and R,
Right.
and if you go there, it'll reinstall the system that you have right now on the computer.
Okay.
Then there's the other one, Internet recovery option, Command and R, and that's the one where you get the globe. When you get the globe, and if you get to that one, and you make it to the utilities, you can erase the computer, and that'll allow you to reinstall the newest possible system you can get on this computer. So if you had, even if it was like something older, like a 2013, you could still maybe get like Catalina that way. Like if you're on the Mojave and you boot up to Internet Recovery, it'll give you the newest compatible system. If you have something newer, it'll go to Big Sur. If it's something a little older that can't use Big Sur, it'll go to the next newest one, Catalina. Then the third type of recovery would help you install the original system that the computer came with, or at least the oldest system that's still accessible, that's still available.
Okay.
And that one, at least with the older computers, like if you've got like a 2011 or a 2012,
Mm-hmm.
2015 even, if you try to do that one, I've had some people have trouble with that, where they would try to go backwards and erase a computer. But then sometimes, like the system they try to install, like it'll show up with like one of the big cat systems, one of the really old ones, or it might show up like with Yosemite or El Capitan,
Okay.
and it'll allow them to go backwards and reinstall that system. But those are the ones that have the most issues, where a lot of times they can't do it, and it's usually not recommended. But if you have like a 2019 or 2018 MacBook, and you do that and reinstall it backwards, you should at least get like High Sierra or maybe Mojave. That's much newer. That's still easily accessible for the Mac computers. So that
Okay.
would be safer. So those are 3 different recoveries. Different types of ways we could try to erase your computer. If one way didn't work, we still got 2 other options.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I think we've already attended to number 5 because number 5 is me talking about data moving in and out and how do I stop it. right? And what I hear you say is data should not be moving in and out if I do not sync, I did not join a network, and the best thing to do is to just do a proper wipe.
That's what I'm seeing. Because I mean, a lot of the things you're describing to me
Yeah.
sound like a lot of really, really bizarre system or software related issues. And if a normal kind of thing like just restarting or resetting doesn't fix it, and even if you went as far as reinstalling the system without erasing, which I forgot to ask you, has that been done?
Erase, yeah. Erase and
Okay.
reinstall has already been done a few times.
Okay. Now, if that's already been done, because I think I remember looking in the notes, somebody mentioned that one of the senior advisors you spoke with already had it escalated with the engineers.
Yeah, yes. Yes, they escalated to engineers. What has happened is, well, let me go back a bit here because I'm getting on my computer, I'm seeing two previews, two quick times, two text edit, lot of problems. I send it to the senior advisor. Senior advisor is telling me you have a problem, okay, because this shouldn't happen, right? And she said she's gonna escalate. She's gonna escalate it to engineering. Engineering ran capture data and said the computer is perfectly fine. Now, how is that possible?
That I would not know, Suda. I don't have access to that type of tool
Right.
as someone that's not a senior. So I cannot answer that. Because I mean, like, I don't even know how to use that system diagnosis thing. I don't have access to that at all.
Okay. And
I
that
don't want to give you any misinformation.
no, that is perfectly fine. I think I understand why the capture data always comes back clean. Well, engineering says it's clean. Actually, you know what? I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When capture data goes to engineering, is capture data the only thing they look at, or do they look at the screenshots and capture data? Do you know?
I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I know, like, I can see, if I go backwards here, let me see. Because if you sent screenshots and pictures and attached them,
Oh boy,
like,
lots.
with senior advisors before,
Yep.
I can also usually see those screenshots. Now, I don't know if the engineers could, I'm going to say yes, because I know a lot of times, now I can never escalate a call to an engineer myself. I don't have that ability.
Okay.
But I do know that sometimes, like, we have different kind of databases to get answers and get information for certain things. And say, like, sometimes we would find some kind of problem that a few other people had, and like, say this is something out of the ordinary and it requires specific steps to fix it. Like, say, a certain bizarre virus. Like, there's a really weird virus we had going on for a while, and we didn't have, like, standard instructions on how to get rid of it. So we would check this other database, and it would provide different instructions on how to get rid of this. And so the reason why I'm mentioning this is because sometimes I would go there and say, if I follow the instructions as a regular Mac advisor and the problem still happens, then it would say escalate to tier 2, escalate to the senior advisors.
Okay.
Supervisors.
Right.
And then when it gets to them, they have their own instructions. I can see those instructions sometimes, but I can't do it. Not just because I'm not a senior advisor, but because I don't have access to what they use. And so sometimes in those instructions that they have, it would say, ask the customer to attach a screenshot. And I'm going to assume that they have to attach it themselves, not just from me to them, but I think they have to attach it so the engineers can also see it.
All right.
So I'm going to say they probably did see it.
Thank you for that, because that's what I was hoping that they actually. I'm not sending the screenshot for to waste anyone's time. I was thinking they would compare the screenshots to captured data, because if captured data is coming back pristine, how is it that I have two previews and two quick times and two text edit among other apps that don't belong to me? right? But according to my senior advisor, she said that the capture data came back pristine, and so there's no problem with the computer, which was shocking to me. So, anyways, let's move on. Let's see. Number 5, we talked about that should not happen. We agree, right? Number 6. Um, so I asked, is engineering aware of the double apps? And he said yes. He did a research on it and he said yes. Did you see that?
See, yes, it does say that they're working on a solution right now.
Right. So how is it that I send the screenshot of the double apps, they ran capture data. How can they say there's no problem when there is a problem and they know there's a problem?
All I could say is that sometimes when there's certain problems with certain machines that are really far out there, because I've seen it happen for system software and sometimes hardware too, where sometimes they run a diagnostic for the system, run a diagnostic for hardware, and like a lot of times it'll say you're fine. Like I've had people go, like say they have their logic board or their battery or something physical completely fail on the computer, or I could see early symptoms of a hard drive failing.
Right.
And I want to say like almost like nine, like I haven't seen an error come up in a diagnostic for something like that for hardware. Because like if like with your Mac computer, it comes with a diagnostic little like that you can use yourself. You can run a diagnostic, and it'll tell you if there's any issues found. And a lot of times, I've only seen it maybe twice, where we actually get specific error messages. Like even the battery is the easiest one. But like there's other ones where it'll say there's nothing wrong with the computer. And same thing with the system diagnosis for other system issues, software issues. I guess really what I could say is sometimes if an issue is so severe, even the machines used by the engineers might say there's nothing wrong with it. So it could be almost like maybe if the problem's so new, the machine doesn't recognize it as a problem maybe. Like I really don't know how I could describe it, but on a rare occasion, I've seen it happen where you can see everything and provide every possible evidence that there is a system issue, there is something wrong with the computer, but then the test would say it's fine, but we know it's not fine. And I think that's the main reason why they were pitching the replacement, because it's almost like they probably can't fix it, or at least it would be easier for you to do that. But, I mean, have they already offered that to you, Judah?
Oh, yes. Listen, we've gone through this before and they haven't been able to fix the problem. And we keep going over it over and over again. And that's why I said at the beginning of my email, I stop giving me new computers because you guys it's the same problem again. You run diagnostic, it comes back clean, and I still have the two applications constantly, the duplicates, and nobody's looking at it. It's a problem. You're telling me at one end there's a problem with it, that I shouldn't have two preview, two QuickTime, and two other apps or new things showing up on my computer. But when you run diagnostic, you see it comes back clean. There is a problem, but why can't engineering admit that there's a problem? Because they told my senior advisor, nope, no problem here. That's it. And so that part is frustrating because it's my senior advisor told me, well, there's no problem, nothing we can do. Then we had to call back Apple a number of times. Then it gives me work now to say, okay, if this shouldn't happen, then what do I do now? Because there are things on my computer that shouldn't be there. There's IPv4, IPv6, data moving in and out of my computer, which I document fully. And so they give me new computers.
I understand.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just frustrating because I don't know if I'm coming or going. So if they know about the problem, they can just say, look, we know about the problem, but I understand your explanation. The problem might be so new that they don't understand it. That's why they're working on a solution as per number 6, right?
But they're definitely working on it. You know, it could be that maybe later there might be some update that'll come out that can fix it, or they might contact you about some other kind of step that they'll
Oh,
have to have you take to fix it too. You
really?
know, there could be a chance there might be some kind of update. Like usually, like if Carlos isn't available, I think you should still receive some kind of email from the engineers, and they'll say contact Apple again. We have some updates.
Okay. Um, okay. Because I haven't heard anything from engineering. From engineering, the only thing I've heard is there's no problem. Um, but the specific problem, and I'm going to reiterate again, and you please, I want you to clearly tell me, Benjamin, data should not be moving in and out of the computer. If I did not join a network, did not sync, did not transfer any information, and I ran diagnostic, that data should not moving in and out of the computer, right? Should not be moving in and out of the computer, right?
Should not. No.
Should not. Thank you. And I should not see the 35 active foreign internet connections. Yes, no?
And those other internet connections, where did you see those?
All of it in NetStat.
I'm sorry, where?
NetStat under diagnostic. I ran diagnostic and found it in NetStat.
Okay. Let me see here. So this was in like in your network preferences, or where did you run the diagnostic?
All right. So for that, I'll have to teach myself all the stuff. So I open Activity Monitor, then I go to View, and View, one of the options in View is to run diagnostic in the drop down menu.
Okay, I see. See here. Okay, I was actually trying to see if I could run one myself, but I actually can't. Okay.
Okay.
Now, because from what I understand, there shouldn't be any network activity. Like if your Wi-Fi is just not connected, if you're completely offline, that's the way I understand it. Now, I would maybe understand if some other things appeared in Activity Monitor, like there could be some other kernel tasks in the background, or anything from like other apps still just coming and going, still running. Nothing network related, I could imagine.
Right. Common sense. Apple is common sense. That's why I use Apple. Right? I'm not syncing, I'm not connected anywhere. I just wipe the computer. Why do I have foreign internet connection? Active foreign internet connection. So a wipe is not a wipe, right? That would be your conclusion. It's not a clean wipe.
Like if you've already wiped it and you saw no changes, so there could be something else going on with the computer, like something a little deeper than
R-
just the system, like something maybe even with the firmware.
That's what I'm
Something else
thinking. That.
violate.
So what do I do though? What are my choices?
So now it's already been escalated.
Yes.
Like they've already done, at least you and the senior advisor.
No, 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 no. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm asking about what is one to do for if it myself or someone else. What is one to do when this sort of thing happen? What do they say to Apple?
Okay. Now, have any of the senior advisors already offered like any kind of service or like replacing your computer at all?
Well, replacement is the only thing that they offer, and that's fine. But if you're the only one who's mentioned firmware, and I believe that to be true, I think it's deeper than it's not surface, it's much deeper than surface. It's not surface level. Um, when something like this happens, what is one? How is one to deal with Apple?
So if if I was in your position, Tita,
Yes, please.
I would probably accept the replacement because
Okay.
if it's something this deep, because a lot of times I just look at it do with like some of the Apple stores sometimes or the other places. Like if you have an issue that's so severe, like say if they can't fix it in less than a couple of weeks, in less than a month, or if you have an issue and you do everything you could and try to fix it again and again and again,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no changes, they offer replacements. That's even for hardware. Like if you have a logic board fail or a hard drive fail, and it happens again and again and again, instead of replacing your hard drive again, a lot of times they'll just replace your computer. And
Okay.
because I mean, whenever something's escalated to the engineers, we know it's been escalated. They're working on it, and it could be tomorrow, it could be the day after, it could be a week, a month. I can't say how long it might take them to figure out what's happening and how they can fix it. So usually, it's easier and faster and more convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you're offered a replacement computer, just take it
All
because
right.
odds are, if you get a new computer and you set it up again, it probably won't have that same issue.
Okay. All right, Benjamin, thank you so much. I wish you could be my, my senior advisor. Actually, you're so much better than the senior advisors. I'm not kidding. I really seriously do mean that. It's rare that I find someone that it has knowledge and doesn't bypass and say, "Oh, it's all right. It's okay. It's supposed to happen." Right? You're the only one, and Carlos as well. He was pretty good.
Sure thing. Happy to help there, Sita. And I think I've given you as much information as I possibly could on everything you asked there. But anything else involving like the replacement, again, I'd have to bring in a senior advisor. So I mean, but was there anything else you wanted to cover today, or did you
N-
want to speak to a senior advisor, or
no,
is
no,
there
I don't
anything
want
else?
any. I don't need anything else, Benjamin. I am great. Thank you. I will move on from here. I know how. I just needed these questions to be clarified. Um, yeah, I am good. Thank you so much. I really, really, seriously do appreciate your assistance. Thank you so much.
Things, Sita. And again, if you need anything else, just call us back anytime, and we'll be happy to help. Okay?
Gosh, I hope I find you. Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll maybe take
Yeah.
another time.
Take care.
Take care. Have a
Okay.
good one.
Bye. Bye. Bye.